Welcome back to Saltwater Stories, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because today we're talking about parrotfish.
Parrotfish.
Yeah, and these guys are way more than just a pretty face, with those incredible colors.
Right.
They're
Right.
absolutely vital to the health of coral reefs. And you know how we always say something is crucial to the ecosystem?
Oh, yeah.
We really mean it this time.
Yeah. With parrotfish, it's almost impossible to overstate their importance?
Okay, so I'm already hooked. Tell me more.
All right, so picture this. Those stunning white sand beaches you see on postcards, a lot of that sand, believe it or not, is actually parrotfish poop.
Wait, seriously? Parrotfish poop? I thought they just, ate algae.
They do. But here's the thing, they've got these incredibly strong teeth, even tougher than a
No
shark's.
way. Stronger than a shark.
Yep. They use those teeth to scrape algae off coral reefs.
Makes sense.
But they end up grinding up some of the coral itself in the process. It's kind of like, imagine if you had to chew through your plate to get to your salad.
Ouch. Okay, I can see how that would lead to some sandy leftovers.
Exactly. That ground up coral gets, well, expelled
As poop.
as poop. And that, my friend, is a major contributor to the beautiful white sand we see on so many beaches.
Wow, I am never looking at a beach the same way again. I had no idea. Okay, so they've got these crazy strong teeth. They're munching on coral all day. What happens next?
Well, what goes in must come out, right? And in
Hmm.
this case, what comes out is sand.
Right?
A single large parrotfish can produce hundreds of pounds of sand every year. It's incredible.
Hundreds. Seriously, that's like, what, a small car's worth of sand?
It's true. They're like little swimming sand factories. But here's the thing.
There's more.
Always more of parrotfish. Sand production is just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, lay it on me.
Their real claim to fame is their role as guardians of the reef. And when we consider all the threats facing coral reefs today, from climate change to pollution, that role is more important than ever.
Okay, so you're really selling this whole guardian of the reef thing. What makes them so important?
Think about it this way. Coral reefs are all about balance, right?
Right.
Too much algae throws the whole system out of whack.
Throws it out of whack how?
Well, too much algae can actually smother the coral, blocking out the sunlight it needs to survive.
Oh, so it's like being overgrown with weeds. The coral can't get what it needs to thrive.
Exactly. And that's where our parrotfish pals come in. They're like the lawnmowers of the reef, constantly grazing on that algae and keeping its growth in check.
So they're keeping things tidy, keeping that balance in check so the coral can thrive.
Precisely. And when the coral thrives, the whole ecosystem thrives.
It all comes back to that balance, huh?
Right. Healthy parrotfish mean healthy reefs, and healthy reefs are good for everyone, including us.
I like the sound of that. But there's even more to these fish than meets the eye, right? I heard they have some pretty unusual habits.
Oh, absolutely. For starters, let's talk about how some parrotfish sleep.
Okay, parrotfish sleep. I'm intrigued. What do? Curl up in the coral at night, find a nice little cave.
Some of them do, sure, but some parrotfish have a way cooler strategy, actually.
Oh, like what?
Certain parrotfish species create a mucus bubble around themselves to sleep in.
A mucus bubble. Wait, seriously? Why? What's the point of that?
Okay, so picture this. It's nighttime on the reef, things are getting quiet, and our little parrotfish friend, he's getting sleepy.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Go on.
He finds a secluded spot, maybe under a coral edge or tucked into some rocks, and he starts secreting this special mucus from a gland near his gill.
Mucus from a gland. Okay, this is sounding less and less like a good night's sleep.
Just hear me out, just hear me out. So this mucus, right, it forms this kind of like cocoon, a little sleeping bag around the parrotfish.
Yep.
And it's not just any mucus. This stuff is amazing. It masks the parrotfish's scent, making it harder for predators like moray eels to sniff them out in the dark.
So it's like an invisibility cloak. That's pretty clever.
Right, like a little underwater snot bubble invisibility cloak, but it protects them, keeps them safe.
That is wild. Evolution's so cool. Okay, so there are these amazing sand-pooping, algae-munching, mucus-sleeping guardians of the reef. But with all the threats facing the ocean these days, I gotta ask, how are they holding up?
That is the million-dollar question, and unfortunately, it's not all good news.
Oh no.
Yeah, parrotfish populations, they're facing some serious pressure, and those threats you mentioned, climate change and overfishing, they're some of the biggest culprits.
Okay, so those are pretty broad issues. What does that actually look like in the real world for parrotfish?
Well, let's start with overfishing. Parrotfish, in some parts of the world, they're a food source, right? And in some regions, they've become a prized food source, unfortunately. Exactly. Unsustainable fishing practices in these places, they can really decimate parrotfish populations way faster than those populations can recover.
So it's like people might depend on them for food, but if they're fished too heavily, it's not sustainable.
Right, and here's where it gets even more concerning. Overfishing parrotfish, it doesn't just hurt their populations, it weakens the entire reef ecosystem.
Oh, go on.
So we talked about parrotfish being like the lawnmowers of the reef,
Right.
keeping that algae growth in check.
Right.
When you take away the lawnmowers or, significantly reduce their numbers through overfishing, the algae, it just grows unchecked. It goes wild.
And the coral can't compete.
Exactly. They get choked out. They can't get enough sunlight. And the whole reef suffers. It's like removing a crucial player from a team. The whole team dynamic is thrown off.
So it's not just about losing parrotfish. It's about the domino effect on the entire reef.
Yeah.
Everything's connected.
Right. And that's where climate change comes in and just adds insult to injury,
Yeah.
Warming ocean temperatures, they lead to coral bleaching, which weakens the reef even further, making it even more vulnerable to the impacts of overfishing, pollution, all of it.
It's like this double whammy that reefs are struggling to recover from. So what can we do? Is there any hope for parrotfish and the reefs they call home?
I am so glad you asked that because, yes, there is absolutely hope. Many communities and organizations around the world, they're working really hard to protect parrotfish and their habitats, and there are some truly inspiring efforts underway.
That's what I like to hear. Give me some good news. What are people doing?
Well, for starters, a lot of places are implementing fishing regulations like size limits or even outright bans on parrotfish fishing in certain areas. This gives the populations a chance to bounce back.
That makes sense. Give them a break. What else?
Another big one is the establishment of marine protected areas, MPAs for short.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, they're like national parks for the ocean, providing safe havens for marine life to thrive without the threat of fishing or other harmful human activities. These areas can be incredibly effective in helping parrotfish populations and entire reef ecosystems rebound.
So it's like creating these pockets of protection, these little havens where they can recover and thrive.
Exactly. And then on top of that, there are the coral restoration efforts that are becoming increasingly common, which is really exciting.
Coral restoration. So what does that look like in action? Are we talking like underwater construction crews, tiny little hard hats on the parrotfish?
It's actually even cooler than that. Scientists and volunteers, they're out there literally growing coral in these underwater nurseries, kind of like underwater gardens.
Underwater gardens, okay. So far, so good.
Right. So they grow these corals in these nurseries, and then when they're big enough and healthy enough, they transplant them onto damaged areas of the reef.
So they're like giving these struggling reefs a helping hand, giving them a jump start.
Exactly. It helps the reef recover faster, and as it starts to thrive, it creates a healthier environment, a healthier ecosystem, and that, of course, benefits the parrotfish as well.
It's amazing to think that we can actually, help rebuild these underwater ecosystems. We hear so much doom and gloom about the environment these days.
I know, right?
It's nice to know there's some positive things happening as well.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that even with challenges like climate change, we're not powerless. There are things we can do, and it's not just up to the scientists and the experts. Everyone has a role to play.
Okay, so I was just going to ask about that. What can our listeners do? What can everyday people do to help parrotfish and coral reefs?
Well, one of the biggest things you can do is be a conscious seafood consumer. Think about where your seafood comes from, how it was caught or farmed.
Right.
And if you're traveling to a place where parrotfish is on the menu, which does happen in some areas, maybe consider opting for a more sustainable choice. Do a little research.
So do your research, know what you're eating, and make sure it's being sourced responsibly.
Exactly.
Okay, what else?
Supporting organizations that are doing coral reef conservation work is huge. There are so many incredible groups out there, both local and global, making a real difference. Even a small donation can go a long way. Or volunteer your time if you can.
Yeah, every little bit helps.
It really does.
Wow.
And honestly, never underestimate the power of just spreading the word. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers about parrotfish, about how cool they are, about why their conservation matters.
Become a parrotfish evangelist.
Exactly. The more people who understand these connections, between a healthy ocean and healthy reefs and healthy parrotfish populations, the better equipped we'll be to protect them for the future.
So well said. It's amazing to me, just thinking about how Such a seemingly simple creature, this fish with a funny beak that poops sand, can play such a crucial role in the health of an entire ecosystem.
Right. They're incredible.
I know I'll never look at a parrotfish or a white sand beach, for that matter, the same way again.
Me neither. They really highlight how interconnected nature is and how important it is for us to protect our oceans.
Well said. And speaking of protecting our oceans, a huge thank you to Printable Pages for sponsoring today's episode. You can grab a free parrotfish coloring page at printablepages.org, a fun activity for all ages to bring today's episode to life with your own colors. Check it out and enjoy. And to our listeners, as always, thank you for joining us on another deep dive into saltwater stories. We'll be back soon with another fascinating underwater adventure.